Hola clase, hoy vamos a mirar la lección 9.1. Entonces vamos a comenzar con este PowerPoint. So as you already know, we looked at two verbs that were irregular in the preterite, which were ir and ser, which were fui, fuiste, fue, fuimos, y fueron. So now we're going to look at other irregular verbs whose preterite forms are different. Okay? So we can think about these in three categories. Not across always, but here we have the preterites of tener, venir, and decir. And tener belongs to what's called a U stem, venir is an I stem, and decir is a J stem. Okay? So why a U stem? Well, you can see that the U is across the board. So you say tuve, tuviste, tuvo, tuvimos, tuvieron. And with the I form, with venir, the E here turns to an I. Vine, viniste, vino, vinimos, vinieron. And then finally with decir, the classification of verbs that are J stem, the C goes to a J. So dije, dijiste, dijo, dijimos. And careful here, it's dijeron. A lot of times people want to say dijeron. They want to add the I, but it's just dijeron. All right, and I'm going through this quickly, but all this information is in your textbook on pages 310 to 311, so you can look there on your digital textbook. So it says the ending of these verbs are the regular predicate endings of er, ir verbs, except for the yo, usted, ella forms. Okay, so that and there are no accents here. Okay, so here's a whole list. Again, this is in your textbook of verbs that fall into those categories. So for U stems, you have these verbs, so poder, poner, saber, and estar, and you can see their forms here. For I stems, you have querer and hacer. This was in addition to venir, right? Venir was an I stem, as would tener was a U stem. So querer and hacer, and here you have the forms quise, quisiste, hice, hiciste, etc. And then you have these J stems, which was like the verb decir, right? Which is here. So we have traer, conducir, and traducir. So you see that traer gives to traje, trajiste, conducir, conduje, condujiste, etc. Traduje, tradujiste, etc. So this tells us that most verbs that end in CIR are J stem verbs in the preterite. For example, producir. Producir would say in the preterite, to say I produced, right? Produje, produjiste, etc. And it gives you an example here. Produjimos un documental sobre los accidentes en la casa. Also tells us that preterites with J stems omit the letter I in the ustedes, ellos, ellas forms. I already pointed that out, right? So mis amigos trajeron, not trajeron, like you might be tempted to say, or ellos dijeron la verdad. And then, of course, there's the verb dar, which is completely irregular. Okay, so dar is an AR verb, but it actually has IR, ER endings. So you say di, diste, dio, dimos, dieron. All right, there's no accents there. Right, so this says what I just said. This slide tells you what I just said, that it has ER, IR endings, right? So la camarera me dio el menú. Los invitados le di a Juan algunos consejos, nosotros dimos una gran fiesta. All right, lastly, the preterite of I, which if you remember is there is or there are. We use this in the present tense. We say, hay mucha gente. There are a lot of people here. Is hubo, okay? So here's an example. Marisa le dio la foto a la señora 10. Hubo una celebración en casa de los 10. Hubo, right? So there was. All right, so that's it for this PowerPoint. Let's do a few activities. So we'll start here with this activity. So as always, you pause it before I give the answer, okay? So let's read the instructions. Elige el pretérito adecuado de los verbos para completar el diálogo. So here we have the forms. You just pick which one fits, okay? So here we go. Hola, hola Jorge. Blank que fue tu cumpleaños anteayer. ¿Cómo lo pasaste? Pause. And we're back. Que supe. Jorge, excelente. Durante el día no blank, so it's pudo celebrar mucho porque blank mucho trabajo. Pause. And we're back. So this is Jorge responding. So no pude. Yo no pude. I couldn't celebrate, right? Porque tuve. I had a lot of work. Ya veo. Y por la noche, mi hermana me blank una fiesta sorpresa en casa. Pause. And we're back. Mi hermana, so she's the subject, hizo. Okay, número 5. Me blank muy contento porque, pause. And we're back. So here he's talking about himself. Me puse. Right, I got really happy, or I became really happy. Porque, seis, blank, todos mis amigos. Pause. And we're back. So here the subject is todos mis amigos. So vinieron. Y me blank muchísimos regalos. Pause. And we're back. And it's the same subject, mis amigos, se dieron. Right? They gave me many gifts. Pero mi hermana te invitó. ¿Por qué no blank? Pause. And we're back. Estuviste. Why weren't you there? Right? We know it's now Jorge is talking to Juan. No pude ir porque Alicia y yo nos comprometimos ese día. No, nos comprometimos means they got engaged. No le blank a mucha gente. Pause. And we're back. No le dijimos a mucha gente, because we're talking about Alicia y yo, right? We didn't tell a lot of people. Solo blank brindar con nuestras familias. Pause. And we're back. Quisimos. Solo quisimos brindar con nuestras familias. Felicitaciones a los dos. All right, so there's that activity. So let's close this and go on to the next. We're going to do 3 today. So again, I'm moving through this quickly, but you can always, you should be pausing it and thinking about it, and you could also go back and look. And again, these pages 310 to 313 in your textbook. All right, this tells us completa cada oración con el pretérito del verbo apropiado. No todas las palabras se van a usar, pero algunas se pueden usar más de una vez. All right, so we can not necessarily going to use all of these, but we might use them more than one time. All right, so remember, this is on the preterite, and these are all irregular. Okay, so let's go. Nosotros blank galletas para la fiesta. Pause. And we're back. Well, here we have 2 options. It could be hicimos, like we made, right? Or trajimos, we brought. So let's go with hicimos for now. We may have to correct this later down the line, right? So we'll say we made galletas, okay? Muy bien. 2. Sara blank que escribir las invitaciones. Pause. And we're back. So this could only be tuvo. She had to, right? Sarah had to write the invitations. So we use tener here. Okay, 3. Todos le blank feliz cumpleaños a Ana. Pause. And we're back. Dijimos. Here you could say dijimos o dijeron, because todos could be all of us or everyone, like they did. I'm going to go with dijimos. We all said happy birthday to Ana. Okay. 4. Yo blank un plato de dulces en la mesa. Pause. And we're back. Yo puse. I put, right? I put a plate of sweets. Okay. 5. Eduardo y Beatriz blank una botella de vino. Pause. And we're back. And we were right up here because this one has to be trajeron, right? They brought a bottle of wine. So we were correct in using hicimos and number 1. Okay, número 6, last one. Tú le blank un regalo bonito a Ana. Pause. And we're back. Here would be diste. Right, you gave a nice gift to Ana. All right, muy bien. Excelente. I'm going to do one more. And here we're only working with I o hubo. Okay, so depending on the context, is it going to be in the present tense, which is I, which again means there is or there are, or is it going to be in the past tense, hubo, there was, there were. Okay, so in the example we say, hubo champán en la celebración de anoche. So in the model, we see anoche, which means last night, so we know it's the preterite. Okay? All right, número 1. Ahora blank una fiesta de graduación en el patio de la universidad. Pause. And we're back. I, because it says ahora, so it's saying right now. Okay. Dos. Blank, muchos invitados en la fiesta de aniversario anoche. Pause. And we're back. Hubo, because like the model, anoche, so there were many people in the anniversary party last night. Tres. Ya blank, una muerte en su familia año pasado. Pause. And we're back. Hubo, el año pasado, last year there was a death in her family. Cuatro. Siempre blank galletas y dulces en esas conferencias. Pause. And we're back. I, because siempre, right? There's no indication that it would be the past tense. There are always cookies and sweets in those conferences. Cinco. Blank varios entremeses en la cena de ayer. Pause. And we're back. Hubo de ayer, right? Yesterday. Finalmente, número 6. Por las mañanas, blank unos postres deliciosos en esa tienda. I, right? Por las mañanas, so this is an ongoing thing. Ok, clase, muy bien, buen trabajo. Hasta luego.